Hi everyone, for tonight's Nightcap and review, I'm having water, and tonight I'll be discussing To Bargain with Mortals by R.A. Basu. I did get this as an ARC from NetGalley, and of course I'm giving my honest opinion. These are the highlights and the content warnings that the author posted on Goodreads. My rating for this book is a 4.75, so what's it about? So this book is about Poppy, who has long spent her life caught between two worlds and accepted by neither. She is a brown-skinned Virian who was adopted by the white Welkish viceroy and his wife, all in an effort to prove the virtues of Welkish society and their founder. But even with the silk and the schooling, she never belonged, as she is too native for the colonizers and too colonized for her own people. So when she uncovers her fiance's plot to exile her in a grab for power, she runs, escaping straight into the arms of the Jackal, a feared gang leader whose magic the Empire has long tried to erase. He plans to use her as leverage to free his brother, but Poppy is done being used. With her own ambition and secrets, she decides that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, because as allies, she and the Jackal might just have the ability to bring down the very Empire that tried to erase them. So what are my thoughts? Again, I'm giving this a 4.75. I really enjoyed this book. It had so many different layers to it and touched on so many different topics. The first being colonial imperialism and cultural erasure, with Poppy being adopted by a white Welkish couple who believe they can teach out the savage and the Virian people and turn them into proper people once they are exposed to Welkish society, standards, customs, as well as the founder who came up with their religion. It really reminds me of a book I read, I think it was last year, of Against White Feminism, where British women would go into, I think it was India, and they thought the best way to empower these women were to take out the stoves that they currently use and give them more efficient stoves so they can get out of the house and go be capitalists. That's a different topic. But not realizing that the stoves that these women were using were used by the community. So you have this sense of community, as well as the recipes that they used did not transfer over to the British stove. So by switching over to these proper efficient stoves that the British people brought, they lost the sense of community as well as recipes that were a part of their heritage, and they lost because they made this transfer over. Now, the next topic touched on was revolution and progress. What is the best way to bring about change? Now, then this part might be a little bit of a spoiler, so you might want to skip this part. But in this book, you have the Jackal and his brother who are faced with a dilemma. Do we make a deal with the evil cop who has our brother to get our brother released back to us, as well as to get one seat on the council, so we are now in the room where decisions are being made about our people? But honestly, is our voice going to be heard, one seat amongst many? Or do we back Poppy, who technically, as the heir, has a legitimate claim as Vice-Rena, though technically there has never been a Vice-Rena, so there's a hint of misogyny there, but honestly, if she had been a white woman, she probably would have gotten the seat, no issue. The focus is more on the fact that she is Virian, even though she has been raised by Welkish standards, the Welkish do not see her as that. So it might require force to get her claim heard and get her in that seat. But if we can get her in that seat, we have the person at the top of the food chain who is our person who can make decisions about our people. So who do we back? The next topics touched on were like privilege and trauma and class and caste systems. All interesting topics that were delivered with a really great story that I really enjoyed. This is the first and I believe a duology, and I plan to buy this book for my shelves, and I plan to continue the series as, again, I really enjoyed it. This book will be available October 28th, so definitely check it out, and I hope everyone has a good night and happy readings.